Welcome to This Song Is Yours, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of songwriting, chat with some of the most exciting artists in the world, and explore the stories behind their songs. I'm your host, Simon Fink, and as always, thank you very much for joining us. Our guest this week on the podcast is Dobby. A Filipino and Murrawarri musician, rapper, producer, composer, and drummer, Dobby is one of the most genuinely multifaceted artists working in Australian music today. After studying music throughout his schooling years and completing a Bachelor of Music at uni, he began releasing his own work in 2018, building a catalogue that includes the powerful protest anthem I Can't Breathe and a string of singles that steadily grew his audience. But it was his 2024 album WARRANGU River Story that brought his music to the forefront in a major way. It is a deeply considered record drawing on the cultural wisdom held within the three rivers surrounding Warranga. It earned Dobby an ARIA Award for Best World Music Album, a shortlist spot for the Australian Music Prize, and the kind of widespread recognition that his work had long deserved. Now Dobby is back with brand new music. Today he's sharing a brand new single titled Free Your Mind and has announced Marshmallow, his brand new album due July 31st. It's a time travel concept rap album inspired by his journey back to his inner child and draws on the Stanford Marshmallow experiment and Dobby's unreleased 2009 project. It's a whole different sonic world to what came before, and one that finds him stretching into new territory and flexing different creative muscles entirely. Today we're stoked to be sitting down with Dobby to talk all about this new album Marshmallow and what it represents for him creatively. We discuss how it feels to step into such a different sonic space after WARRANGU River Story, the story behind Free Your Mind, and what this new chapter looks like for one of Australian music's most singular voices. Now we want to say a massive thank you to Rhiannon for her help with today's episode and give you a friendly reminder that Free Your Mind, the brand new single from Dobby, is out right now, and Marshmallow arrives online and in stores July 31st. You'll find all the details in today's show notes on where you can buy the record, follow Dobby on social media, and catch him in any live capacity. While you are in the show notes, please make sure you subscribe to This Song Is Yours and come follow us on Instagram and TikTok. It really does help us out and it keeps you across new episodes, guests, and everything else that we've got going on. If you head to thissongisyours.com, you'll also find our playlist features and our fresh merch drop where we've recently updated with a bunch of new tote bags. So perfect for carrying around music or whatever it may be that you're carrying with you. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into it. Here is our conversation with Dobby.
Brother looking like a cartoon, not gonna quit it until I kill this inner critic. Shit, this isn't the feeling, don't wanna win it, need a part two. Baby, my ancestor demand better. He taking off on a damn mission, the man clever with the pen. See the plan, because my ambition, it depends if I can handle my command with the shit again. One can't they get a time.
Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Dobby. Hello, sir. How are we?
Oh my goodness, thank you. Yeah, really good, Sai. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. Doing very well. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time and coming to have a chat about new music. I know, like any time that there's new music out, it's always kind of exciting. But I imagine that following on from the success that your previous record had, it must be exciting to have new music continually coming out and seeing what people kind of make of the Dobby project and what people think of the music you're putting out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it feels like an opportunity to present a different view of myself, a different angle of myself. And I'm well inspired by people like Kendrick Lamar, who each album is a different world and it's in of itself. Good Kid was an incredible story that was told in the form of in this space of a day. And then there's Mr. Morale and Pimp a Butterfly, if you're familiar with his discography, like each one has a different flavor, a different color, a different theme. And I feel really proud of this work because it feels so different yet so me. Yeah.
I think that there's something to, and I want to kind of get to it in a little bit in terms of this forthcoming record that's coming out in July and your previous one and how it is differing, because I think you just kind of aptly addressed it there, the whole like it's almost different colors, different flavors across each. It's not just like a continuation of one story. But today, when people are listening to this conversation, there's a brand new entry into the songs of this record. Free Your Mind is out today. It's a beautiful track. It's I want to say it's like an anthem of choosing self-awareness and clarity over kind of self-sabotage and things like that. Firstly, congratulations on the single. How is it feeling now with this song out in the world, out for people to enjoy?
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely amazing. I really loved making this song, and I love hearing it, and the fact that it's out is very exciting for me, and like you're saying, like the song is about clarity over, the superficial things in life where it comes to, when it comes to accolades or any type of external validation that we do seek and look for to feel fulfilled. But that inner self-worth is really what brings a true feeling of validity and purpose. And so that's kind of what this song is about. The alternative title for the track is the not equal sign, so equals plus the the thing, which means, and in my eyes, it refers to success being not the same as self-worth.
It's an interesting concept for a song in terms of that. I feel that especially within hip hop, within rap, you do have these elements of a lot of music almost not being determined by, but a lot of bravado, a lot of ego in relation to things of that nature. And I think that it's really interesting that you've kind of addressed it in this sense of not wanting to simply have it as that if this is success, then that means that you're fulfilled or that kind of sense. It is a really kind of interesting concept. I'm curious, is this something that you've found, and we don't have to address it too much if you don't want to, but obviously that last album, WARRANGU, of a Story, was incredibly successful. ARIA Award winning. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
Was the inspiration kind of from your own personal lived experiences of how you found success and what it kind of looked like once you actually passed that threshold?
For sure. Yeah. And the irony is definitely not lost on me, because it's very easy for me to say, oh, success isn't the be all and end all, and having still received an ARIA award for the album is very funny. But I would like to think that I would still be the person I am, the drive that I have, and most importantly, the pleasure that I get out of being a musician and being an active member of the musical society and community. That's what I have to remind myself is what gives me joy. And so, there's a line in the song, I don't need an ARIA to be alive. Satisfied ego, I sleep at night. So that's kind of, I guess, if anything, it's a reminder for me to come back to what matters most.
100%. I think there's actually a really interesting article with Tony Hale, who people might know from Arrested Development, the TV show, or Veep, or things like that. And he recently talks about kind of a similar thing, almost, that I think as a creative, you have these goalposts where you go, this is success, or this is what I want to be aiming towards. And then you get there and it's not satisfying, but it's a thing of that it doesn't stop. You don't just go, oh, I'm successful and, wipe your hands clean and that's it. Being a creative is just that continued evolution, almost, that continued reevaluation.
Yeah, exactly. And when it did happen, when I did get the award, Tony, the recording engineer and co-producer on this project, Marshmallow, he texted me and he said, congratulations, now onward.
Yeah.
Like let's continue to do what we do. And I really appreciated that, because that is the feeling, and look, not to say I don't want, like, we all appreciate these moments of flowers where we can, really sit back and say, hey, like, that's really it's made it this far. And I really love that. But, being a part of it is just, there's so much to be proud of. The music community I love so dearly, and what we do on a day-to-day basis, from the top to the bottom, is what makes this amazing organism.
100%. I was wondering whether you might kind of share with us. We've got Free Your Mind out today. We've also had the singles Good for Nothing. We've had Sabotage. We've had Fight. They're all building towards this new album that you mentioned, Marshmallow. And it is, as addressed right at the top, it's sonically worlds away, I want to say, from River Story. For those fans who have listened to River Story, it's still very much your voice and your storytelling ability, but it is, yes, sonically different. We've been lucky enough to have a little bit of a listen before it does come out in July. And I kind of sat there and kind of let it wash over once or twice because it was like, are you sure this is the same Dobby? Like, are we, yeah, okay, all right, cool. Wondering for you, was there a pivotal moment where you kind of made that decision to go, let's like change up the game. This is what we're going to be doing for this project or this album.
Well, it's funny because this album and WARRANGU were both, the genesis started at the same time. Which is really funny to me because, 7 years ago is when I started working on, Dippy and Pachalinya. And I started putting together those like little field recordings and creating, I guess, the genesis for what WARRANGU would end up becoming. But at the same time I was working on, it started with the concept first, this time travel story. I've always wanted to I love concept albums, and I just kind of had these two puzzle pieces in my hands trying to figure out how to make things work. And then I realized that the time travel story would actually really fit a personal journey that I've been trying to tell. And that was 2018, 2019 when I started it. So it's just been in the back of my mind for all these years. It wasn't necessarily like a let's pivot now. It was in my head, it's like, all right, now back to this project. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was there thoughts of, and I can completely understand kind of both sides of the coins with this, because obviously WARRANGU has this incredible fan base of people that have found and connected with the record, as mentioned, ARIA Award winning, but also shortlisted for the Australian Music Prize, a number of other accolades, I believe, as well, that was placed onto that record. Was there any fear in terms of returning to this project and the sounds of it, and maybe what people who found you through River Story, like what they might think of it in a way? I know that, and I mean this with all due respect to dear friends who love world music, I know sometimes they can almost be like purists in a way, in terms of that they're very particular in what they'll listen to or not listen to, and wonder whether there's not that fear of alienation, but I guess how you almost play both sides of that coin in a way as an artist.
Right. I feel I'm in such a weird space in between so many different things because, and it's a blessing, and I'm very grateful for it because, of the type of musician I am as a classically piano trained jazz drummer. I've been in between theater, and I've been in between, jazz orchestras and playing in these, pseudo classical worlds. So every space I walk into, I feel like I'm proving myself because they don't know who I am, and they're like, who is this rap artist coming into our classical world, or who's this pianist coming into our hip hop world? It's always been sort of like, I don't know, like maybe a bit of an underdog mentality. And so I love that, and I feel that's me. And so there's nothing, I don't think there's really ever been a pressure to sort of be able to match what people expect, especially in the world music community. And if they don't vibe with this next project, that's absolutely okay, because it's not really for them. This really feels like music for me. And the last project wasn't for them either. It was for my community, and it just so happens to fall where it falls. And I feel, there's a lesson in that. If you as an artist are true to who you are musically and personally, then things fall where they may.
100%. I think that over time, even within the realms of popular music and music as a whole, I'm probably just echoing exactly what you said then, but there are times where I think you look at the discography of certain bands and artists, and even though the genre may change or, they're trying something new, I think that if you can tell that the truth and the intention of being honest within it, it still lands with quite a large subsection of their fan base and community as well, because I think that they want to hear those stories regardless of the colours that they're being painted in and how they're being told. You mentioned then that you are like a classically trained like jazz drummer and pianist, and then coming into these different worlds. I'm wondering, you've probably picked up now that we are like a songwriting podcast, wondering whether you might share with us how you got started in songwriting, making your own music, and whether approaching it from either a hip hop perspective or that the classically / jazz trained world, how you found that and kind of not sticking to those preconceived formats and kind of foundations that they have in those kind of genres.
I mean, I definitely am led with a rhythmic intuition for sure. I'm a drummer at heart, so when I listen to rap music, it's very, that's what stimulates me, is hearing what particular pockets, what rhythms artists will rap with, and how the drums interact with them. I've always been a big fan of anything rhythmic, whether it be samba, whether it be, Afrobeats, I'm jazz. Like, there's so much that, and so I have always kind of started with trying to figure out the rhythm first, and then have colored it in with lyrical pencil afterwards. But it's nowadays that I'm trying to write more from a certain theme. But I teeter-totter between those things. But as I got started, it was thinking with a drummer's mind, trying to be a rapper, but with a drummer's mind, for sure.
I actually find that approach really interesting. I don't think that there would be many rap or hip hop artists that you would find in this current day. Like, maybe there's a handful I can think of. I'm trying to think of like hip hop rappers, singers who are also drummers. Anderson .Paak comes to mind. It might be a very small class of just you and Anderson .Paak in this circumstance that I can think of. But I think that it is quite interesting looking at that approach and working out how you tell stories and songwriting and rap, like based on that rhythm, is, even if it's, I guess, for a more hip hop or R&B kind of approach to it, is that like a regular occurrence of how you would write songs? Like, if we were to talk about Free Your Mind, like, what would that approach be like, in terms of, will you sketch down like some ideas for lyrics, or will you hear like almost like a beat or a percussion thing in your brain that you'll voice note and then come back to later?
I think the power of scatting is just so incredible. Like, that is a really connecting method that really bridges, okay, so we've got scatting in the culture of jazz, and which is essentially freestyling in rap, but with gibberish, right? And so I guess if you look at it that way, as a quick side note, you can really appreciate what freestyle rap really is, because it's one thing to be composing a rhythm in real time, but also you are rhyming and creating logic and using language all at the same time. It's really like incredible. One of the biggest like forces of creativity in this world. But yeah, so I think scatting and figuring out what the rhythm is, and then figuring out how, what sounds like the second verse of Free Your Mind is the best example. I know, like, I say the sky falling, my eye twitching. Listen, they said no more dicking around. This isn't what you've been about. You didn't come in for clout. Take off the woke. There's the downbeat. It's time to bury the doubt. Second they open their mouth, you want to carry it out. Stay, So I have this so I'm already, these are these paradiddles, these are these rudiments that just feel so good on your body. Pharrell Williams is another great example of someone who does this. He thinks of production, of lyrics and songwriting from a drummer's mind, and in his production as well. I mean, look all over the Justified Justin Timberlake album. It's just so special because of his drumming. I just think it's such a great way to write music.
There's definitely what was it? Yeah, I think in Free Your Mind there was certain like elements of the percussion, and as you were kind of rapping across them, I know you're mentioning the downbeat. Then the jazz school dropout in me there was a small part of my brain that was like slightly satisfied or getting some kind of like endorphin rush to it when that was happening. You mentioned obviously the relationship between Pharrell and Justin for that album. I know that on this record there is a small handful of collaborators. I know Josh Pike is on there on the track Sabotage. I think there's one or two others on some tracks. When you are looking to collaborate and have someone come on board and kind of enter that world of Dobby, what are the qualities that you're looking for in terms of someone who's going to, I guess, suitably complement the process or the album, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I only have 2 albums so far to go off of it at the moment, but for both albums, the example is the featured artist, has to be someone that makes sense to the story, and to, I guess the musical world of it, of course, but the story has been definitely a priority. Josh Pike, for example, I mean, his collaboration and feature on Sabotage, my previous single, is a really important one because it's not just because he's an amazing artist and I've wanted to work with Josh for a long time, but he was a big part of my childhood. And so this whole album is about childhood. So to have him be on that track specifically about self-sabotage, it's kind of ringing true to a personal, like it's very full circle for me. And the album is about me going back in time to face myself. And there were like Middle of the Hill was the track that I first had heard of Josh Pike's that we studied in school. And so I'm literally going back to that time with the use of him being a part of that song. So it all makes sense. Even the Vampires, right? The Wollongong jazz giants, the Vampires, they were my teachers. Right? So right. I sample them. I sample them in the song Marshmallow, which is the title track of the album. And that is literally the time travel song where I'm, it's a bit Far Side Officer sort of esque, and I'm, racing, chasing the bus, trying to get back to my younger self to confront him. But the ongoing sample is the Vampires, Jeremy Rose, Alex Masso, so like and Nick Garbett. So like these guys were literally like Alex was my second drum teacher growing up playing jazz in Wollongong. So everything has its place, everything has a purpose. And I think that's what makes the album feels so real. I mean, the voices that you hear throughout the album, they are my teachers and they are my friends. I went back and asked if they'd like to be a part of it, and and that really makes the world incredibly authentic and a bit too close to home for me sometimes.
I kind of love that though. The album does have, for those people who are listening to us, these beautiful kind of like voice notes almost of different people and different kind of bits and pieces that really help string the album together. It is very, very special, and I'm excited for people to be able to hear this. We'll make sure that there are links in today's podcast show notes for people to pre-order the album. It's called Marshmallow. It comes out July 31st. Before we let you go, we usually ask, I guess, what they're currently listening to at the moment. What is currently on high rotation for Dobby?
Oh, goodness. Well, Zipporah's latest EP is still on high rotation. Love her voice, her story, and her power. I've been listening a lot to Emily Warramara as well. Really keen for, more music from her. And I guess and Kobe D's latest single as well, Aim for the Stars, has been definitely on high rotation. And Josh Pike's new album has just come out as well, which is fantastic. Sounds great.
Some excellent recommendations there. I very much appreciate it. Congratulations again on the brand new single, Free Your Mind. It is out today. And as said, we'll make sure there are links in today's show notes for people to listen to your music, purchase and pre-order the record. But Dobby, thank you very much for coming to have a chat with us on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been great.